into
Dude,
Zencaster.
Trent, I understand the Kirk hype now, dude.
I love that guy so much.
I just don't think there's a more wholesome quarterback.
So he, like, my family in Minnesota is pretty close with his family, and he's been so nice to. Yeah, he's like, I have personally never met him, but like, he takes my uncle fishing, and my uncle takes him fishing,
What?
and like, he's just like the nicest person.
Dude, when he was
He's super
singing,
okay.
Hello.
So my cousin babysits for him,
Hey, what's up?
and she says that like his wife is just great, and like
Yeah,
every
we're
time she
recording
goes
right
out,
now.
she comes back and like with a whole new outfit
You're
or
live
something
on the air,
for
what's up?
her as payment, besides the payment
No,
already.
we're
Like,
literally
she
about
buys
to
her
start
clothes and
recording.
stuff.
What's up?
And then like when Kurt comes home, he's just super robotic, like exactly how you would imagine
Oh,
Kirk
that
Cousins
sounds
being.
really good.
Why haven't you met him
Right.
yet?
Because I live in Texas.
Yeah,
dude,
you know,
when he
Mondays.
like was singing the hymn to his kid and then like prayed with him after a
All right,
freaking
I cried.
playoff
Hudson,
lot,
though. I
dude,
miss you.
I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be this guy.
I can't forgive
You
him.
should.
Can't forgive him for what?
Yeah, you should.
Taking RG3's job.
All right.
I don't
was
think
it
it could have
I think
happened. to,
RG3's
like,
knees did that for him.
Yeah,
don't
I
think
know.
It couldn't happen to like a more morally deserving person, though.
You talk about a quarterback room, man. I bet they led worship on Sundays. Those
Dude.
two.
Yeah, for real.
Kirk sang and RG3 was in the back with an electric guitar or something.
All right. By the way, we are
FCA,
live on YouTube.
NFL
I
edition.
freaking love that you like that too. I want a shirt with that on it now. I want one of those.
All right,
That
let's
was
get
in
this thing going.
Like the one time he said anything ever.
Let's pause. Wait, how's everyone's? Yeah, everyone's audio is good.
Anything uncalculated or
Right.
Okay, let's pause.
the- That's not
uncensored Kirk Cousins.
Austin beep, and then let's go.
You like that?
Uncensored Kirk Cousins says like, "Gosh darn it."
All right, welcome everyone to this week's episode of Making the Call. I am joined by Trent, Austin, and Rosie, and we've got a bunch of different football topics to go through this week. And this will be the last episode before the month of August, which is all NFL preview podcasts. We did this last year. It was a lot of fun. We're bringing it back this year. We're going to be previewing basically 2 divisions each week. We'll have different categories and different things that we'll talk about each episode. So that's coming up next week. But before we do that, we've got some other NFL topics that we want to run through. And I think, honestly, guys, kind of the biggest story that has kind of taken over the NFL world over the last, 5 days or so is the running back market is kind of in shambles. Is that a good way to put it? I mean, no one's getting paid. No one's getting new contracts. You had a Zoom meeting that was organized where the reports from the Zoom meeting basically was that nothing was said. Who wants to lead us off? What? Yeah, I mean,
that was just for.
That's like every board meeting ever. It takes like an hour and a half and you don't get anything done.
it was the epitome of this could have been an email. Like,
Yeah.
because all the reports from it were basically like, yeah, guys, this sucks. Anybody got any ideas? And everyone's like,
Nope.
no. Like, all right.
It's like a therapy session is all it was. It was like a group think therapy session.
Man, I'm only making $3 million. I should be making 10.
It's like, you guys are making $3 million.
You guys are getting
James
paid?
Robinson in the group.
You guys are yeah, James Robinson.
Was James Robinson on that meeting?
Probably not. He got paid.
No. No, it was, I think all the reports I saw was like only the top running backs, which then, the next question is, okay, well, who's not deemed a top running back? Like, who's going to be the guys who don't get the Zoom link sent to them? Is that, just like because I don't think like Ezekiel Elliott was on it. I think Dalvin Cook might have been. I'm not quite sure.
Dalvin was invited, but he didn't attend because he was on a plane.
He's also
He
not
was on the way back from his camp or something. That's the one thing I did see about it.
Okay. So on the whole running back market thing, I mean, is anyone surprised by this? Because I feel like this has been coming for a while.
That they're complaining about it?
Well, no, just that the fact that teams are realizing that with the way the current NFL contracts are set up, like, yeah, you shouldn't really give a second contract to a running back.
I think it took way longer than it should have. I mean, Zeke is the prime example of why you don't do that. Cowboys could probably have a Super Bowl right now if it weren't for Zeke.
I wouldn't go that far, but yes, Zeke's contract was
Do you think that Dak Prescott?
I get the rationale behind it.
behind
I mean,
Rosie's
you
take or
might not
behind
know
Zeke's
that
contract.
Pollard
I get the
already.
rationale.
Like you would have had Tony Pollard for like 3 years and basically doing the same thing.
Okay, you lost me.
Yeah, but you also, I mean, their problem last year is they didn't have any wide receivers outside of CeeDee Lamb who could do anything. So I don't know if not paying Zeke solves that problem.
You could have paid a wide receiver instead of Zeke with that money.
Okay,
Amari.
all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
convincing
Amari,
me.
that's what I
exactly.
thought.
Amari, yeah. Or
That's
if
where I
we
thought
could've
you were
paid-
going, Rosie. I didn't expect you to whip out if Tony Pollard got his carry.
I was just
We could have
adding
we
to
could
it.
have paid Amari if the Cowboys had any knowledge of how the cap actually works.
Yeah,
but
that's
who,
another
who
thing.
knows how the cap works?
Cowboys don't.
Well,
but
something doesn't exist, so
I'm tired of them complaining though. They have no reason to complain. Like this isn't communism. Like you don't just get it because you feel like you deserve it.
it's your market value. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
You get paid what the market says you do. And
Did you
that's-
guys see
that's
that
what it
argument
is.
for shorter rookie contracts as a way to maybe combat that? What do y'all think about that?
honestly, I mean, I could see that. I don't think that'll ever get passed. Not really for the running backs, but for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's like that's
Because
I
having
mean,
that,
Yeah,
having
then everyone else is going to complain about it.
right.
The best solution I saw, I mean, I don't even think it needs a solution, but one thing that I saw was allow running backs to come out whenever they want out of college.
Can they not already, or they have to go 1 year?
they have to be
No,
there
they
for
have to-
3.
They
Yeah,
have to be there for 3 years.
Yeah.
For any player, yeah, you can come out after your junior year.
I don't know how I feel one and done in the NFL though.
So
think-
here's I'm
ahead.
for that. You know why? Because that probably lengthens out a NFL career a little bit.
I think that's the
You know,
mindset
'cause-
behind it.
You're getting
Yeah.
pummeled a lot sooner though.
But for millions of dollars, which
That's
you're going to
true.
get pummeled later anyway.
Well, NIL you're getting pummeled for millions of dollars anyway.
That is true with the emergence
Yeah.
of NIL. Then going pro isn't necessarily a big deal.
Yeah.
I think what needs to happen is running backs in college either need to switch positions or just stay in college for forever because they're more valued in college.
That's what sucks about this whole thing is like all these guys that aren't getting paid, like they've committed their entire lives to being a professional running back, and then when they get like all their coaches are like, you want to play at the next level, you want to play at the next level, and then they got here, and then nobody wants them anymore.
Well,
So, like,
Trent,
they
they are
work their-
getting paid though. They're
What's
getting
that?
paid a lot of money. So
Yeah, it's just how the league is going.
But
I mean,
compared to
Why are
other
you
skill
comparing
position
it?
players,
I just don't understand that.
Well, that's-
Understand what?
Like, if you are an NFL star and you make it to the NFL and you get paid millions of dollars, I feel like there's just not a lot of room to complain about how many millions you're getting paid.
I mean, yeah,
you're-
relative to everybody else, maybe, but
Yeah,
Like,
if
I
a
don't
wide
care what
receiver's
everyone else
playing
is
until he's
making.
35 and getting paid $10 million.
well, maybe you
Yeah,
don't.
that's
but you're not
nice, but
making-
I'm still getting, like, as a running back, if I were a running back, I'd still be getting paid millions of dollars. So it's
I
like,
mean,
See,
you're
but
just
I
But they're
telling,
not.
so you're
That's-
just
that's-
telling them
I
to be
think that's why
grateful.
this whole thing's happening is because they're not getting paid. Like you're telling me there's 32 running backs better than Dalvin Cook.
or better than Josh
Not
Jacobs
worth-
because he only got the tag.
the difference
Is it?
between
Okay,
a random running back and Dalvin Cook, I don't think it's worth what he's asking for, probably.
well that's not
But
well
is,
yeah.
That's the whole point.
can
Right.
I ask you, Rosie, are these takes on running back contracts? Is this through this lens of, well, they're just a running back, they shouldn't be making millions of dollars, or is this through the lens of like compared to how much money everyone in the NFL already makes, and you're comparing like $3 million to $10 million? You know what I mean?
Well, they play the least important position. So, I mean, no one's
Fullback.
saying that everyone should be playing the same, like paid the same money. Like we all agree that quarterbacks are worth more than everyone else. Like it's not a new thing that we're going through right now. Running
I think
backs are
part
just the
of
least
it-
important
I
position.
think it is a new thing because in the 90s and the early 2000s it was a
Yeah, but there were
running back.
still like important positions and least important positions. The least important positions get paid the least. Like that's just how it works.
Cowboys wouldn't win a Super Bowl without Emmitt Smith.
but that's also a change
was an
in the way
important
the game
position
is
back
being
then.
played.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is you're saying it's not a new thing when in reality I think we started to see I think we can blame Tom Brady, Peyton Manning for the downfall of the running back because they proved that I don't really need anyone to run. I can just dump off. Like,
I mean, yeah,
if you can
Tom
catch the
Brady
ball,
more
great.
so.
If not, I don't need you.
See, I think that I don't know. I saw this as a possible solution, and not even a solution to the running back problem, but just something that I don't think should be in the NFL is get rid of the franchise tag. Because NFL is the only sport that has it, and it basically is a way to eliminate free agency for a player. Like, it's not even like restricted free agency. It's like, no, we're going to franchise tag you. There's no negotiating. Here's the amount you're going to make for one more year, and that's the end of it. And
Yikes.
Rangers game.
And like the running back position itself is getting screwed by that specifically
100%.
because they don't last as long.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, you look at Josh Jacobs. He led the league in rushing last year, and he gets a franchise tag. And he's like, no, this is my time to, like, cash in on, a long-term contract. But now he's got to go, got to risk it for one more year. And maybe he, isn't as fortunate with the same production and maybe not. And then he's looking at, like, a league minimum deal a year from now. You know what I mean? So I understand why they're frustrated. I just, I think this has been coming for a long time, and I think the reason why it's getting attention now is because it seems like the shift happened very quickly to where we were getting to this point, but now the entire league has decided, yeah, we're not going to pay running backs like we used to.
I think the league just got burned too many times by paying running backs, like David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott,
DeMarco Murray,
Marco Murray.
But then you look at a guy like McCaffrey,
Chris Johnson.
Yeah, and he was on the losing Panthers for forever, and he's not.
Then he
a
gets to the
difference
Niners
maker.
and completely changes their offense.
He doesn't though. That's the thing. Like Elijah Mitchell was, I wouldn't say just as good, but within striking distance of being as good as him. That offense is just good no matter what, and CMC being there doesn't really make it like that much better for what he's getting paid. And he's not even getting like. I'm
I
sure
think
he's
in
at
a-
that meeting complaining that he's not paid enough either. So
Well, I know obviously one of the people who have been complaining the most has been, or kind of at the forefront of all this is Austin Eckler. And I feel like a guy like him or McCaffrey, they kind of have a point because they're not just a running back. So if they're saying, no, I deserve a premium on top of whatever you think a running back is worth because I'm so dynamic in the passing game, I kind of get that because you see the way a guy like McCaffrey or Eckler affects the passing game, and they're not just getting the ball handed off to them and running between the tackles. But then you look at a guy like Nick Chubb, who is probably one of the best pure runners in the league, and it's like, what is his value compared to a guy like McCaffrey? Because he doesn't really catch passes. So, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. It feels like
Penis.
why?
I don't know. Austin's daughter was holding the headset. I don't think that makes it better, but
No, it
that
makes
makes
it
it
worse.
a whole lot worse. What are you doing?
All right.
what are you
All right,
drinking, Rosie?
Red Bull and Deep Ellum lemon vodka.
Ooh.
It's pretty good.
I thought you graduated, Rosie. I didn't realize you were still in college.
I need to stay awake right now.
That's fair. All right. We'll wait for Austin to come back.
I can't wait for that.
It's honestly incredible, even though I'm not there yet. My kid's got personality now, and it's hilarious and awesome.
Oh, I'm back.
Did you
Yeah.
hear
So,
Trent?
anyways, to me,
I did not.
I feel like the running back market is kind of a good, it's a good representation for tensions in the Middle East, and I just don't know how we resolve either of these issues.
Nuke 'em.
That escalated quickly.
So just to clarify, you're comparing running backs to
to Bin
terrorists.
Laden and ISIS and okay, got it.
All right.
Now we're,
Let's
I'm glad we're
pause.
on the same
Let me
page.
bring us back to where we last were, and then we'll move on to buy and sells. Okay. All right. Boop. So
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
I
wait,
don't.
Why you don't get to do that?
Hold up. Hold up. I didn't realize you
That
weren't
was really
actually
good
going.
though.
Thank you.
What did I
Awesome, you
miss?
beat-
What did I miss?
Nothing.
Okay.
I said penis in your daughter's ear.
Did you actually?
Yes.
Very quietly, he went. He went. Penis.
That's what she said. So, no, I'm just kidding. All right.
So, anyways, that's the problem at hand. I don't really know how it gets better, and I feel like it's gonna get uglier as we get closer to the season because I don't think it's fully ruled out that you get like a lot of running backs decide that they're gonna hold out kind of in solidarity and they're gonna go on strike. They're gonna join the writers and the actors, and they're gonna be out, picketing outside of the NFL offices in New York, claiming for better pay.
I hope so. Because it'd be hilarious if like all the backup running backs like were just as good as them. which I
Average
think
6
would
yards per carry.
How long does the new CBA run?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I was like, because they're not. I mean, it's not getting paid.
I don't
before
think
the
it's up
CBA is
anytime
up.
soon.
Yeah.
I don't think the running back is. You have some skill, but a running back is the offensive line. It's not the running
Yeah.
back.
Which is why I
Look
was
at
saying
Nico Murray.
months ago that you shouldn't be drafting Bijan Robinson in the top 10.
Bijan's different.
I said there's some skill in some of them, Andrew.
Okay. The current CBA goes through the 2030 season.
Oh,
Oh my.
We're screwed.
R.I.P.
We
Sorry,
are
Eckler.
screwed.
Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. We want to talk about some players to buy and sell in fantasy. I know, Rosie, you've got a bunch, and then we each have like one or two or whatever. So,
You guys do.
Rosie, you want to just take it away? Tell us kind of the premise of this segment and give us your first, player you're either buying or selling.
Well, so for my buys, I'm looking at guys that I feel like the market is kind of down on, but they will have a better year than everyone thinks. And then for sells, it's just the exact opposite of that. Everyone's kind of high on, or not, they don't even have to be high on, but like the market is too high. So my first buy is Gabe Davis.
Oh, no.
Baby.
There's no question about it. He's ready to get hurt again.
So in standard leagues, he finished as the 24th wide receiver. Don't ask me what he finished PPR,
What did he finish at PPR, Rosie?
32.
Yep, there you go.
But he was playing hurt for half of the year. And as soon as he got back from being injured, that's when Josh Allen got hurt. The offense sputtered. There were no deep balls. I mean, you just watched the Bills' offense and it just wasn't very good. And they didn't try to replace him. Like, they didn't bring in anyone. It's just Dalton Kincaid, Gabe Davis, and Stephon Diggs. And I think maybe what I was saying last year about how he has a chance to take over for Stephon Diggs might have been a little too much. I think that was a bold take too far.
Might have been a little too much. That is the least committing revision to a really bad take that I've ever
Does
heard.
Chrissy ever tell you that you don't know how to say I was wrong? Is that like a contentious part of your marriage?
Yes.
As a matter of fact.
So let's start today. I was wrong about Gabe Davis. He's not as good as I thought he was, but he's in a great situation still. And I think that there were some handy excuses for last year.
So let me play a little devil's advocacy here. Does the addition of Dalton Kincaid affect him at all? You'd think because they drafted him high, and if they didn't have big plans for him, I don't think they would have drafted him.
I think it spells doom for Dawson Knox, unfortunately.
Duh.
But I think Knox got enough work last year where Kincaid can take over most of that and some more slot. They play different positions. That's the thing. Gabe Davis is the outside receiver. Dalton Kincaid's not going to play on the outside. Gabe Davis was on the field for 100% of snaps in most of his games.
Are you suggesting that receiver and tight end are different? Is that what you just said?
I know you're trying to roast me, but it's not working.
I know. I'm just asking for clarification.
Yes, they're different positions, but I was asked a question about Dalton Kincaid, so that's my answer.
I had
They play
Dawson
different
Knox in redraft in like 2 or 3 leagues last year, and it was very irritating. So I could definitely see Kincaid, coming in there and taking a lot of that target share on the front end from him. So
So
Yeah, I
you're
think the
buying
biggest
Gabe Davis.
worry- Yeah.
So I've got one question on this, and then we can move on to your next one. Is a Josh Allen offense ever going to be able to support, like, feed multiple mouths? Or is it just going to be the top guy, in this case, Stephon Diggs, is like a true fantasy option, and then everything else is like very
Josh Allen.
streaky on a week-to-week basis?
That is literally what I was going to say about his biggest threat coming into the season is Josh Allen's offense. We haven't seen it before with him supporting 2 guys. They pass a lot, but it's really just Diggs, and then they spread the ball out a bunch. I think the coaching staff is saying that they like Gabe Davis, and they're going to try to get him more involved. And if that's the case, then I think he will be good for fantasy, but it can definitely not happen. So
Okay. All right, give us a player you're selling.
a player I'm selling, I'm going to go with Michael Pittman.
that's
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
I don't. I think the whole world's low on him. I don't think you can sell him.
I think that's a good point, but I'm even lower than everyone else is on him
He's the
because
lowest
I
of
don't
the
think
low.
he's good. I don't think he's the best receiver on his team, and now with Anthony Richardson there, I don't see any hope of him having a good fantasy season. I don't see any way that it happens. Not with Josh Downs there now. Not with
Paris Campbell.
Alec Pierce.
Alec Pierce.
Now we're just naming
I was
people.
thinking
You said
of
Paris
Alec
Campbell.
I was thinking of Alec Pierce.
Yeah, because I mean, if Richardson's going to do well as a passer this year, is going to be the deep ball, and that's not Michael Pittman's game. That's Alec Pierce's game. So I just don't. I'm not drafting him anywhere.
So would you, when you say you're down on him, like, would you give up a 2nd-round pick for him in like 2024?
Depends on how high. Like if I'm a contender, I think I'm gonna be in the playoffs, then I probably would. If not, no.
Okay.
And so that's
Man,
probably
you
pretty
must be
low.
really low because like
Yeah.
I feel like a 2nd-round pick for Michael Pittman would be like a no-brainer.
No.
No?
So I just traded Austin Christian Kirk for the first pick in the 2nd round.
So okay,
And
maybe not a complete no-brainer. If you're expecting to literally be first or second worst team in the league, then maybe not. But if you're
Yeah,
thinking
that's
you'll
what
probably
Rose
be
said.
like,
If you're bottom half of the league, or maybe even bottom quarter, maybe late 2nd, early 3rd is where I would put Pittman right now.
okay,
I don't think that's consensus either. I think a lot of people are higher than that.
all right. So we've got Pittman as a sell and Gabe Davis as a buy. So
My turn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was told by Andrew to make a list, and then apparently we weren't supposed to because Rosie was supposed to do it all. But I made a list anyway. I gotta buy Damian Pierce.
Oh, give it to me. Come on.
So right now, ADP, he is the 18th running back off the board,
In a redraft,
and I think this might be a redraft I'm looking at.
But still.
But That's absurd. People are saying he is a bottom half of the league running back, and if people are valuing him as that, go buy him because when he was healthy, he was quite often top 10 each week.
You guys remember the
I'm
Damian
looking.
Pierce
I'm looking at
over streak?
ADP. He's below Kenneth Walker, Jameer Gibbs, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones.
He's under
And-
Najee?
He's below Najee.
Jeez, I would have him above Najee.
And to me, that is way too low for a guy that looked super, super promising before he got hurt.
He sure did, and I think a lot of the concern with him, like in this past offseason, especially before the draft, was that he was going to get replaced, and he didn't. It's not like they drafted a running back high to like take his job. It's not like a James Robinson situation in Jacksonville. And so if he's the guy, and you got to think Houston's going to be better than they were last year.
Well, it can't be worse.
Exactly.
And they got a young quarterback, and Mechie's back, and they have a lot more options on offense. Whereas last year it was just how do we shut down Damian Pierce?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not saying that the Houston Texans are just gonna blow everyone away offensively, but he's not gonna finish below RB 18,
Especially
which
if
is
CJ
what
Stroud
his
sucks.
ADP is going at right now.
Would you give up a, let's say you expect to be top half of your league, and so, you know, your first round pick would be anywhere from like the 7th pick in the draft to the 12th pick. Would you give up a 2024 first for Damian Pierce
would.
straight up?
I would.
I think I would too. I don't think I would if I expected to be like top 2, like worst. But if you're projecting middle of the pack, chance for contention, he could be the guy that like puts you over the top.
Especially in the AFC South.
Yeah. Like he gets to play. I mean, Jacksonville will be good, but their defense wasn't that good last year. So how good is their defense going to be? But he's going to play the Colts defense twice a year. And Titans will be, you know, Titans are always scrappy, but yeah. I like that buy for Damian Pierce. I like that one a lot.
Okay,
Yeah, he
and
was
then
on
I
my
got to
list, too.
sell, and then we'll kick it back to whoever else got it. This one is probably my biggest sell. Brees Hall.
Ooh.
I understand the hype, I guess, because before he went down with injury, he was the top running back in total yards. He went down, he got hurt. But I have to think that maybe that was due to the fact that he had no quarterback.
Happens to the best of us, man. Don't worry.
It's my
That's all
mom's dog, it's not
I had
mine.
a screaming kid earlier, so you're good.
Here, I'll bleep that out. So just start with he had
Nah,
no
leave it.
quarterback.
Leave it. It's organic.
Hold on, I gotta see if someone's actually here because they don't bark for nothing.
Okay.
I can piggyback off him a little bit.
Are you a sell on Breeze too?
We'll wait. We'll wait for him to come back, and then I'll have you can jump in. Just to
I
keep the
got
conversation
pulled up.
consistent.
Man, I love how we just tied it up. Just because the ball hit the base runner. That's awesome.
So are they bad?
Attaboy Nathaniel Lowe. Look at that.
Let's
Doing
go.
something. Doing something.
Get in there, Josh. Go. Didn't even throw it home. Nice. I love how Jankowski does the sign for more whenever he
Yeah.
gets a base hit. Now Trent, they scored while you were gone. You have to.
No, I
you
never
can't
left
be.
the media room. I just left the camera. I saw
Oh,
it.
all right, you good.
Okay.
I love Nate Lowe post All-Star break.
So
Alright, I'm
start with he had no quarterback.
Okay. He had no quarterback, and the quarterback couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field, so he was getting dump off after dump off. Now they have Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is bringing his posse to New York, and people are drafting him like dynasty, like third most valuable running back. and I think his value is at its peak already. I don't think it'll ever be higher than it is now. So I'm
Did-
saying trade him.
Did Aaron Rodgers throw to Aaron Jones at all?
Oh
He
yeah.
did, but
I
I mean,
was like, I don't really know anything. I didn't pay attention to the Packers, though, being honest.
he threw like once every few games.
I
Not
think
long,
that's
every-
where you lost me, man. I don't know how Aaron Rodgers coming and replacing Zach Wilson is bad for Brees Hall. That doesn't make sense to me.
They're less
because Aaron Rodgers
one-dimensional.
won't pass to him. He'll
I
pass
mean,
to
how
Allen
many passes
Lazard
did
and
Brees Hall even get? Like,
If anything, it
I'm-
opens up the run game because now they have to account for the pass
yeah,
game,
exactly. I'm more worried for next year about his ACL and how they drafted Abani Konda in the draft. I think that's kind of saying that Brees Hall's not going to be ready for the start of the season.
Rosie,
But
I
in
love
Dynasty-
your passion and knowledge for like deep
Random
draft
running
picks
backs.
because you
Bonnie-
mentioned that name.
Bonnie Conda.
And I honestly thought you were like messing with us because I'd never heard of that player before. But
Trey,
I take
All
your
right.
word for it.
Rosie could say any name, and I would believe that it was a draft pick.
Yeah, heard he's going to be good this year.
Jack Marius Texeritrix, you know that guy.
Did I ever tell? This is random. Did I ever tell y'all the story that my Spanish teacher told me in, I think it was middle school. I think it was like 7th or 8th grade. And he was telling us that whenever he was interviewing for his job to be the Spanish teacher, he did like a phone interview with our principal. And she was like, okay, I'm going to say something and I want you to repeat it back to me in Spanish. And he did, but she told him after the fact that she didn't speak a lick of Spanish. So like he could have literally been making it up and she would have had no idea. And luckily he was telling the truth and he got hired as a Spanish teacher, but
It's
he
like
could have
that
completely
scene in-
faked a phone interview and just gotten a job as a Spanish teacher.
You guys ever seen Despicable Me?
No.
When he's like, "You have a face como un burro." He's telling it to a woman. It's like,
Yeah.
she has no idea.
Man, I haven't heard that in forever.
Yeah, you have a face como un burro.
Well, I guess just to continue on Brees Hall, in his games with Zach Wilson, he had 6 catches, 1 catch, 6 catches, 2 catches, 2 catches, 2 catches, 0 catches, and he got hurt. So, yeah, kind of like in the passing game. I don't think that's going to go away with Aaron Rodgers there.
I think he's just being, I don't know. Where my mind goes with Brees Hall, whenever Trent said that he was a sell candidate was, and I think Trent, you might have already mentioned this in some way, but he's already like, if he's getting drafted as like the RB3 in Dynasty, what's the upside? You're way more exposed to the downside of it not working out than you drafting him as RB3 and him being RB3 at the end of this year.
He's number 2 in Dynasty.
Jeez.
And I don't see that. I think like if someone's willing to pay a pretty penny for him, go for it.
Yeah, there's way more players that I feel better about over the next few years in Brees Hall for me to be drafting him second. That's just...
I don't know. He's a second-year running back who's already proven to be really good. I
With
like
an
the talent
ACL
a lot.
With a
injury.
torn ACL.
Well, I think that's more of a redraft conversation. So, like in redraft, he's going as the 11th running back right now in full PPR, and I can't get that. I can't get that at all. Like we got to see it first before he goes. Like he's being drafted as an RB1 right now in redraft.
Yeah. All right, I've got multiple buys, but I've got one sell. So I'll do a buy first, and I'll do a sell. I'm trying to buy Mike Williams when I can for the right price.
Oh,
Gross.
If you're
don't
a contender, I think Mike Williams is getting slept on because of injuries last year.
Quentin Johnson.
well, not just last year.
Well, the year before that, he was a top wide receiver in the league.
Did he play a full season?
I think he did. I think that was like 2 years ago was like his breakout year. If
Yeah. And then Randy was
Missed one
trying to
game.
trade him to all of us before that. You remember when Randy was trying to trade Mike Williams
Yes.
to all of us, and we all should have bought.
Yeah, 2 years ago he was the 9th wide receiver in standard and 12th in PPR. And then he played 13 games last year. It was kind of feast or famine. And then you get Kellen Moore in there, and all the talk around the Chargers is we need to let Justin Herbert, air it out, throw the ball deep. And if they're integrating more of the deep passing game in that offense, the guy who stands to gain from that the most would be Mike Williams. So I don't know how I feel like he has just kind of been discarded because, he was he was disappointing last year compared to what he did 2 years ago. And I think you can find some value there to where he could be a pretty key part on your team if you're a contender.
I just think what we saw last year is what we'll see.
And with drafting Quentin Johnson, I don't see how he's gonna. And he's like what, 30?
28.
Yeah, that's
28.
too old.
Keenan
That's too old
Allen's
for
the one
me.
that's like 30.
Also,
Okay.
Josh Palmer wasn't bad last season.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Like Josh
All right,
Palmer
well,
could
when
take
he
a
has
little.
like 2 touchdowns and 100 yards in week 1, everyone's
Well, it's just
gonna...
like he's going to have those games,
Yeah, Adam Thielen had those games.
but it's going to be like in his breakout year, he had a game against Kansas City where he got 34 PPR points. The next week, he had 2. So is that like who you want to be starting on your team? Not
well,
for me, man.
but you're not.
just gotta
you're
guess,
not
right?
paying, like, the reason I'm saying he's a buy now is because I think you can get value for him. Like, I don't think you're paying a premium to get Mike Williams right now, but
Yeah,
the
that's
upside
true.
could be worth it. That's kind of my thinking.
It's just I don't know if
I can get there, I guess.
yeah, he's pretty cheap. but
Because
I don't know if I
Mike
wanna be
Williams probably
playing him.
costs what, a 3rd-round pick?
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah, I put.
If Michael Pittman's not a mid to high second, I don't know. I don't know if, or not Mike Williams, Michael Pittman. Yeah, I don't know if Mike Williams is getting a 2nd-round pick.
In May, in one of my leagues, like late May, he went for a 2nd-round pick.
Okay, and then my sell is Christian McCaffrey. I think you cash in now before he gets hurt.
All right.
That's pretty much it.
No argument from me.
I can
I
tell
think
you.
Elijah Mitchell too is. I mean, he took like half the carries last year when McCaffrey
Yeah.
was there.
All right, back to you, Rosie.
I can give you the fantasy pros buys and sells.
No.
Oh wait, hold on.
Travis
Maybe we
Kelsey
can
is a
discuss
sell on
them.
that list. I thought that was pretty spicy.
Not yet.
In Dynasty,
Let me see. Yes.
Ah, come on.
7 dynasty players to buy low and sell high. Yeah. Yeah, he Travis Kelsey's on the list.
I don't think you saw him yet. He's got 1 or 2 more years.
Yeah.
Debo's on the list. That's a
As
good
a sell?
as a sell.
Yeah, if anyone will take him. Jesus.
And then
I've been
Tyler-
chopping him for 2 years now.
all
See,
these
that's-
sells. These sells are pretty crap. Like Miles Sanders and then like Tyler Lockett. Like I feel like all those guys.
I'm buying
fall.
Miles Sanders. What are you
I'm
talking
buying
about?
Miles Sanders too. He's number 2 on my list.
Oh, dude. All right, let's discuss.
Who else is going to run the ball in Carolina?
They don't have anyone there.
Yeah, it's Miles Sanders and then nobody.
I wish
He's
I
gonna
worked
be a
in
Catch
workhorse.
passes there too, because there's not. I mean, they also have a good offensive line now. They've been drafting guys like crazy.
Hey, this isn't my opinion. I'm gonna agree with you guys. So
But I
That's
think
just
also
what
one
they
of the
have.
hard thing with these like buys and sells is like you're doing it based off of what their value is or where you perceive their value to be right now, right? And it's also like a matter of what you have to find someone who's willing to operate on the other side of that transaction because like Trent said about Deebo Samuel, like yeah, it'd be great to trade him, to sell him, but you need someone who's willing to buy him too. Like that's also part of it, you know? So that's where it gets tricky sometimes. But
Yeah, I kind of baked that in. But
all right, give us some others, Rosie.
you want some hot ones?
Yes.
I think my biggest buy right now is Justin Herbert. Like he might be one of those like, oh yeah, you say you're gonna buy him, but like, what are you actually gonna pay? Like, I would take him as the 3rd quarterback in a dynasty league right now, and I would consider trading Mahomes to get Herbert plus, because I think Herbert's gonna be extremely good next year. I think he has an easy chance of being the number 1 quarterback with Quentin Johnson there and everyone healthy, with Kellen Moore running the offense, like I just don't think it can get much worse than it was last year. And I just think Herbert's just a really talented guy that just people are just forgetting about.
I don't know if people are forgetting about Herbert, but I think it's more so, yeah. What are you trading for him? Because I think if you're trading for Herbert, you're trading for, not quite on Mahomes level, but you're trading for, Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. Like I feel like he's getting valued in that same stratosphere. So
I don't think so. I mean, like I feel like a lot of people would have Trevor Lawrence ahead of him and Justin Fields, and Joe Burrow.
I love Justin Fields, but I can't imagine someone having Fields over Herbert.
Yeah, I would rather have Herbert over all those guys. And I think with what you're talking about is he's in the next tier behind Mahomes and Josh Allen. To me, he's in that same tier.
I think he's in the next tier behind Mahomes. That's it. I think Mahomes is in his own tier, and then it's Josh Allen, Burrow, and Herbert, and Lamar, and like all those guys are kind of in the next tier, in my opinion. Like to me, Mahomes is one of one, and
I'm
then
with Andrew.
But Allen has finished higher than him most years. Like,
I don't like Josh Allen.
But it's also the certainty of.
wasn't Josh Allen second last year when he played bad? Like,
Yeah, but you talk about consistency.
yeah, 1-1-2.
Is Josh
I'm
Allen?
taking that. I mean,
But in Dynasty, you're also projecting out. So, like, who's going to have a longer career? Probably Mahomes. Because Josh Allen doesn't know how to not take a hard hit. Like, he seeks out contact.
yeah, that's true. But Mahomes has some years on him too. But back to Herbert.
Same age.
Yeah.
Are they the same age?
We talked about this like 3 weeks ago.
Josh Allen and Patty Mahomes are the same age.
That's crazy.
It's just Mahomes has been in the league like 1 or 2 years longer.
That's
Something
crazy.
like that. Yeah. Both 27. But back to Herbert. I mean, good buy candidate. I don't. Are you paying a premium to get him right now?
Yes.
Yep.
So you think the premium on him is worth it?
Like I would trade 3 firsts if I had it. And that's like
What's the price of Mahomes? Like 4 first?
probably, yeah.
Okay. So he's in the tier right below Mahomes.
Well, I have him behind Mahomes, but like
I'm just messing with you. All right, give us a sell.
Lamar Jackson. I'm having a hard time buying into the new offense. I think everybody loves the idea of it and loves the weapons that he's gotten. And I need to see it first before I buy in. And I think you can get a lot from Lamar Jackson right now, even though he hasn't done it since his breakout year. He hasn't progressed as a passer like you'd want him to. He hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he's treated as like a top 5 dynasty quarterback and probably a top 5 redraft quarterback, and I'm just not buying him there. Like I would easily take a lot of guys over him. And you can get a lot for Lamar Jackson too if you get the right buyer.
Man, I have him as a buy. But that's good.
Yeah, everyone's a buy.
Why do I have him as a buy?
Yeah.
I'm buying into all the things Rosie's not buying into. And I think
That's what I call it myself.
yeah, a new offense. He's actually going to have decent wide receivers for like the first time in his career. And I think he has shown more as a passer than you'll give him credit for. And as a runner, he is probably only behind Justin Fields in terms of running ability at the quarterback position.
You'd put him behind Justin Fields?
I would, but it's hard because I think they're very different types of runners. Like
I
Justin
think
Fields
so.
is like he is so stocky that he'll just like break a tackle and he's gone. Whereas
Right,
Lamar
this
is
is
like
perfect for
so
my segue.
shifty. You know, like he just like weaves in between these guys and like will turn a 2-yard run into a 20-yard run. But Justin Fields will turn a 5-yard run into a 60-yard run because of his speed. So
I
there,
guess I can see that.
it's just to me I think it's just preference. Like if someone told me they had Lamar as a runner over Fields, I wouldn't argue with them. But
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about the weapons. I have been on this podcast saying I hate Mark Andrews for the last like couple years. I don't think Mark Andrews is all that special, and he's the best weapon there. Zay Jones, there's a lot of hype about him, but I did not like him coming out of the draft. I think he's a little bit too small and like hasn't done it in big competition.
Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. And then Rashad Bateman, he can't stay healthy. He's already on the pup. So
yeah. All right,
we haven't
Trent.
seen Lamar out of this. Sorry,
No, go ahead.
drink me go.
You're good.
Well, we haven't seen Lamar out of this run-heavy offense before, and I feel like it was tailor-made for him.
That's fair. Okay. Trent, give us a buy and a sell.
Buy and sell. All right, let me whip out my list. I am buying Tony Pollard. So I based all these off of ADP and valuation from Keep Trade Cut. I don't know if you guys. are
Hey, hold
aware of
on.
that.
Are you talking in the back of the mic? Flip it around.
Yep.
Yeah. It sounded very muffled. Okay. Here, let me mark that down, and then we'll just start over. 59, 20. Trent, Mike, shoe. Okay. All right, Trent, give us a buy and a sell.
Give you a buy. Let me look at my list here. I am buying Tony Pollard. I made this list off of Keep Trade Cuts valuation, and they have Tony Pollard for Dynasty ranked 13. Behind the likes of Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs. And we were talking earlier on the podcast that it's the offensive line that makes the running back, not the running back. And the Cowboys have a really good offensive line, and Tony Pollard's got a lot of skill. So if Tony Pollard is being valued as RB13, I say you go get him, because it would not shock me if he was a top 5 running back this year.
I can't believe he's being valued as the RB13
That's insane to me.
because out of all those guys that you mentioned that, he's behind, he would be my pick out of that entire list to be the top running back this year. And it's not even close. Like, he's in a good offense with a good offensive line that you mentioned, and Zeke is no longer there. I didn't know he was ranked that low. That's very surprising to me.
And that's why and like in leagues that we're in, we probably can't buy him as the RB13, just because bias and stuff runs rampant. But if you're
Wait, you're saying Cowboys fans are biased when it comes to fantasy?
yeah, it's no shot.
Whoa!
So I have him in what is though?
If for whatever reason you can land him, I'd pay it a first plus. Or if someone wants Kenny Walker for Tony Pollard straight up, I mean I could click accept fast enough.
I don't know. I'll let you go, Rosie, because I could talk about Tony Pollard all day.
Oh, same man. I love Tony Pollard. I think he could easily finish as the RB1 next year.
I think he could too.
Like just watch him play. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL. Like he is up there with Christian McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley and all them. Like maybe even better. Like he's just so good at everything. And behind a good offense and a great offensive line, I'm taking that.
Yeah. This is a really good buy candidate, Trent, because I agree with you. I think Tony Pollard is, if he's being valued as RB13, that just go out and try and trade for him now. If that's how, with a caveat that if he's not currently on the roster of a Cowboys fan, go out and try and trade for him. Because, or maybe with the exception of if Rosie has him, because Rosie's very high on him too. But if you're getting that kind of value for him, go get Tony Pollard, because he could be, he has a chance to be a league winner, I think, especially at that price.
Would y'all rather have Saquon or Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard.
I'll take Saquon. I'm high on Tony Pollard, but I'm too high on Saquon probably.
I think you get Tony Pollard plus if you traded Saquon, unless all this
Probably
sitting
right.
out stuff is going to come to fruition.
Yeah, Tony Pollard's not sitting. I'm taking Tony.
Yeah, I know like Tony Pollard is literally coming off of an injury, but to me, Saquon feels more injury, like a more injury risk than Pollard, and that's why I just lean Pollard a little bit there. All right, Trent, give us a sell.
Is this the last one?
We'll wrap it here.
Can we
All
just
right,
read
Justin
through our whole
Fields.
list?
Yeah, give us
Yeah,
a
we'll
list.
do Justin
rapid fire.
Fields, and then we'll go through quickly the guys that we didn't mention.
Okay, Justin Fields is the biggest sell probably in the history of sells.
I am shocked that you feel this way.
Me too.
Like, this is the biggest surprise
There have been zero
we've
indicators.
ever had on Making the Call.
I have gone on and on about this guy. Cannot throw a football. Says he's going to throw for 4,000 yards. Hasn't even gotten 2,500 in his career yet. This dude is just full of himself. And once people figure out that all he can do is run, he will be out of the league in less than 2 years. Get this man out of the NFL, off of your fantasy teams. Everyone will pay a very, very pretty penny for him. So sell him.
So,
That doesn't equate to can't throw football doesn't necessarily equate to fantasy though.
Yeah, it does if he's out of the league.
okay, I'll say two things. One, I've never wanted a player to succeed more than I have with Justin Fields, just to prove Trent wrong.
This
even
mother.
even Dak, like winning a Super Bowl.
Maybe not. Okay,
All right.
maybe not.
So
Dak.
here's the thing: is I'm not necessarily down on Dak, but people calling him like a top 5 quarterback is absurd.
I have
He
never
is-
called him top 5. I've always called him top 10.
He is not better than Kirk Cousins. I am sorry. I will never admit that.
He's Black Kirk.
They're the same
He's
quarterback.
he's not even Black Kirk. He's not even that good. Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
I'm just saying, if Dak Prescott was
After
on
watching
that quarterback
Yes.
show, you would fall in love with him. He is an elite human being. You would go out and buy a Dak jersey tomorrow if he
They're
was on
both
that show
elite
like
human
Cousins.
beings.
Kirk
So-
Cousins is above elite.
With that said,
Kirk Cousins is like if you were talking about the first man to get into heaven, Kirk Cousins might be on that list.
Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
so with that said about Justin Fields, I kind of agree with you on selling him. Because I
Ooh.
His
have
value will never be higher than it is right now.
Agreement.
I have kind of been shopping him in leagues where I have him because of that. Because I feel like I can get a premium for him.
It's gotten
As-
out of control.
As much as I like him, I've been kind of testing the waters to see who's willing to bite on an overpay, because I think you can get an overpay for him, and I could see a world to where this season doesn't go amazing and then his value falls a little bit. So I do agree with you on that front, but I do want him to succeed, and I will be betting over on his passing yards for the year.
Okay. Just a quick on my other sells. Deshaun Watson, top 10 quarterback. I don't see it happening.
Did you see
and
him
then-
blaming the media for how he's being perceived for what he
No.
did?
I don't. I haven't seen it. No.
he, he said after like one of like the OTAs that he blames the media's narratives for his reputation.
Okay.
Like
Whatever,
what?
dude.
All right, who else do you have as a sell?
This might shock you guys. I have Justin Jefferson as a sell. He's being drafted first overall in some of these leagues. Which, yeah. But he did not have any competition last year whatsoever. And they went out and drafted Addison, and KJ Osborne looks
He's really
good.
fast.
He's really fast, yeah. Very fast. Some might say
He's a speedster.
140.
Yep.
But did you see the report that he was doing it because he had an emergency with his dog?
Yeah,
I did see
sure.
that.
Like, that's all I needed to know.
Yep,
He's
a
back
good
in my
guy.
good gracious.
Good guy, good guy. Another year, Kirk knows the offense. Last year, I feel like he knew the offense, but you saw in quarterback a lot of times he just threw it out to JJ, just because he didn't know what else to do. So I'm saying like same thing with Justin Fields, except Jefferson knows how to play his position. His value will not be higher than it is right now. It's the highest it's going to be. I'm not saying sell him for cheap. Sell him definitely for a lot. Like, probably the same level as what you'd sell Patrick Mahomes for. But, sell him.
He's the best non-quarterback, right?
Yes. He is the best non-quarterback. And I don't really think it's close. But if you're, like, especially if you're in a situation where your team is probably not going to compete, but you have Justin Jefferson, trade him for a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
And
that's fair.
And then my other sell that I had on this my other sell I had on this list was Garrett Wilson
Oh, I don't know.
I like this one.
Mm-mm.
because
Rosie and I unite.
he is wide receiver number 4. And
Is he really?
I can't get there.
Oh, geez, I don't know about 4.
He's above it like AJ Brown, Waddle, Sun God, Olave.
I'm not there. I thought you were going to tell me he
I'm
was
not
like
there
10.
either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
same.
lord.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say 10.
No, he's wide
this
receiver
Fantasy
4,
Pros?
and I can't get there with Aaron Rodgers and his history with young wide receivers, especially since he brought his guys to New York.
Let's go, Mark.
I think Garrett Wilson is a great wide receiver. I just don't think he's top 5. And if you could get top 5 value for him, do it.
Under those circumstances, I agree with you. Yeah, 100%. If you can get
Yeah.
top 5 value, go for it.
Yeah, my goodness.
Wide
I can
receiver
see him
4
being
is
top 5,
absurd.
And then I'll quickly run through my buys. We talked about Miles Sanders. I have Chris Olave. I think he's going to be really good.
Mhm.
Top 5 potential, ranked outside the top 10.
Very sad.
Another sneaky one that I'm not that confident in, but his value might be so low that you can go get him for cheap anyways, is Darren Waller. Because of his injury history, his value is low, but if he ever does put together a healthy season, he could be a league winner for
He's
you.
got the
Oh,
goat
yeah.
for a quarterback.
Well,
so
and it helps
I'll
that
agree
he's-
with you there.
He's a whole 2 feet taller than any of the other pass catchers on that team.
That's hilarious to me. I when you sent that meme earlier this week.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. So that's a case for Darren Waller. Rosie, who are some of your buy or sells that we didn't get to?
I think Trent touched on some of them. I also had Waller, but other tight ends, Tyler Higbee and Sam Laporta. I think you can get him at the end of your draft, and he might be the number 2 catch passer on the Rams. So, like, I take that. And
I've
Laporta,
never heard someone call it catch passer before.
Pass catcher.
Yeah.
I've had too much to drink. But then Sam Laporta, the hype is real. He looks really good in camp. He might be incredible.
Why did the Lions trade Hawkinson?
Because they didn't want to pay him, right?
Yeah, this is a bad time for Rosie's dog to be barking, but
Sorry.
Rosie
it's
back.
alright.
Why?
Why did the Lions trade Hawkinson?
Because he sucks at blocking. His work ethic isn't that good. And they got a second-round pick for him.
He's a great pet. He's a great
So
pass
it's
catching
not
tight end,
because
though.
the Lions don't use tight ends.
I mean, they used James Mitchell and
You see, I've
Shane
never heard of him.
Zylstra.
so I
It's
don't
like
believe
who's
you.
James
I swear
Mitchell?
you keep making up names, dude.
One day
never
I'm
heard
going
of
to throw in
James
a
Mitchell, so
made-up
that's why I
name for
don't
y'all.
believe you.
I'm pretty sure after
That tight end
Hawkinson
Squish
left,
Maloish. Yeah, all that.
after Hawkinson left, I'm pretty sure the rest of the tight end room had more catches or touchdown passes. Golly, I can't talk right now.
Touchdown catches.
More touchdowns than Hawkinson had. So yes, they did use their tight end.
Rosie, I'm gonna start counting, and you stop me at the number of drinks
They-
you've had. Okay.
One.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Lightweight, baby.
Welcome
Lightweights.
to the club.
Lightweights have thicker.
All right,
wallets.
anyone else that you have, Rosie?
Yeah, then I got Najee Harris
Bye.
as a buy.
You're buying him?
He's going way too low. I mean,
I
everybody
get
was,
there. I can get
everyone's so hyped on him after his rookie season, and if you listen to us, you would have heard us say the hype is too much. He's not going to catch as many passes, but he'll still be pretty good. He was pretty good last year, and I think he'll be good again.
there. His offensive line cannot be worse than it was last year.
Yeah, his offensive line was really bad, and you can get him in the 5th round of a dynasty. So, I mean, I'd take that.
Remind me, did the Steelers get to 500 last year? I can't remember.
They did.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh man! All right.
Past
The streak
500,
is
right?
alive.
I was like, I could not remember.
Yeah.
Trent, good job.
All right.
And then Damian Harris, Drake London, and Chris Godwin.
Where's Damian Harris? You in Buffalo?
Buffalo,
A little town.
little
And
town.
Naheem
New
Hines
York.
is out for the year.
I think Damian Harris is way better than James Cook too. I think he's taking.
I
that
think so
job
too.
Right out.
I think he's a
I'm
good runner.
so glad I have him.
All right. I had just 3 more buys. Cooper Cup. I feel like he's a little undervalued because he was hurt, and so
That's a duh. But
I know, but I feel like he's getting slept on, like in terms of the top wide
Slept on.
receivers.
Slept on.
slept on.
Yes, that. Like
All right,
if
next
Garrett
podcast
Wilson is
dry.
like, if Garrett Wilson is getting drafted as like the 5th wide receiver, like I want Cooper Cup because he could actually be the wide receiver 1. And I don't think Garrett Wilson has a chance to be the wide receiver 1 this year. This is like a really like bargain bin shopping. Michael Gallup, because I think you could probably get him for like a 4th round pick. And if it doesn't work out, you're out a 4th round pick. But if it does work out and he returns to what he was before the ACL, then you've got like a pretty nice flex player.
I don't
And
know.
then-
Fourth
Was he even
round
good
pick
before
seems
the
a little,
ACL?
He was,
Yes.
yeah.
4th round pick seems a little low.
You'd be surprised. I feel like he's being valued very low right now.
I might 3rd round pick, but
And then finally, Javonte Williams, just because injuries, I feel like if you can go out and get him, especially if you're like planning for the future, go do that. So
the fact that he's already available, like they didn't even start on the pup list, so
yeah, that's a good sign.
that's a good sign. I agree.
So, all right, those are our fantasy buys and sells,
Y'all's fantasy buys and sells.
and fantasy pros, courtesy of Austin.
Yep. Travis Kelce.
All right,
sell
while
him.
we're waiting on Rosie to come back, before we get into the Fantasy Football Manifesto and our draft of the best and worst teams in the NFL, let me tell you about our good friends over at Liquid IV. Everyone here on the podcast has gotten Liquid IV recently. We drink it on a pretty regular basis. It is hydrating. I have a feeling Rosie might be needing some hydrating enhancement after this podcast, and what better way to get that than Liquid IV. It's got 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It hydrates you twice as fast as water alone. It's delicious. They've got the brand new line of sugar-free hydration multipliers. I've had the lemon lime and it's fantastic. I've got it sitting on the shelf behind me. I'm about to order the sugar-free white peach. That'll be the next flavor
Ordered
on my
that this
venture.
week.
You got that this week?
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet, but I did order it a couple days ago.
Yeah, you'll have to report back on how it is. It sounds tasty.
Nice.
But we love Liquid IV here. We've been drinking it since before, they were a sponsor for this podcast, and couldn't say enough nice things about them. Go try Liquid IV today. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MTC at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MTC at liquidiv.com. Okay.
Dude, hey, so I just want to point out, so I started drinking it on Saturday nights before I have to sing Sunday morning. I'm hitting notes that I haven't hit in a while. And so special plug for worship leaders out there. Drink it on Saturday nights and you will see life changed on Sunday.
There you go.
Which is your own.
That's a new
It's
year.
a miracle.
By proxy, hopefully other people. So Liquid IV is a step towards salvation.
I mean, what better endorsement than that?
That's
ladies
gospel,
and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's gospel. Let's go.
That's idolatry, gentlemen.
Before we get to our draft, so
Hey.
the very first post that we ever posted on the Making the Call Substack
That's that
was
thing
it
I
was
supposed to
from
post on
a
James, yeah.
podcast segment, and it was a fantasy football manifesto, and we basically each came up with some rules to live by in the world of fantasy football and talked about them. We kind of compiled the list in the podcast, turned it into a Substack post. We're going to revisit that right now to make sure that everything that we've got in the manifesto still applies. We don't want to, change anything or maybe remove anything and things like that. We'll post a link to the exact article in the show notes here. Since it is, you have to go back a ways in the Substack to find it. You can go check it out. So you can see kind of all of our commentary from back in, I believe it was January 3rd when we first released this. So first one we had, this was actually a rule from Rosie. And it's, if a coach isn't doing something you think they should do, buy players according to what the coach should be doing. And I think your reasoning here was basically Tony Pollard. You thought the Cowboys should be using him more, so you were buying all the Tony Pollard shares early in the year, and then you were, sitting pretty because of it.
Look at you now.
I think that was a success.
I think that was a good rule. I like that one. I think that
I
one's
talk
gonna
about my
stay.
bad ones all the time, so I like that one.
That was a good one. Next one is courtesy of Austin, and this one I'm actually going to read the little blurb that Austin wrote because I think it's worth it. And so the rule is, if you're in a dynasty league, do not go all in for a championship. Always keep an eye towards the future. And then Austin wrote, don't ever, for any reason, trade with Andrew Robertson in your fantasy league. If you do, he'll convince you to trade him Chris Olave and Drake London for Devontae Adams and Nick Chubb. Always plan for the future.
2 of our buys.
Yeah.
I'm never going to live that one down.
I still don't think it's that bad.
Thank you, Trent. Every time it comes up, I just wait for that. And it's the little thing that gets me through the day.
Yeah. All right, next one's courtesy of Trent. If someone has been injured all year, buy them as soon as you can after the season. And you basically said that you knew Saquon Barkley was going to bounce back, so you were buying all the Saquon shares you could.
Got him
That
for a
one-
second-round pick.
That one worked out
Nice.
very well. And then you also
Nice.
said, this is kind of funny considering one of your sells, you said, I'll be trying to do the same thing this year with players like Cooper Kupp and Brees Hall.
This was before I knew that Aaron Rodgers was going to the Jets.
Good point. Good point.
Fair counter.
I mean, we kind of always knew, right?
Yeah,
We had a guess.
exactly.
Still.
So I
But
think
I would agree with the Cooper Cup situation.
Yeah, I think so far all these rules I still agree with. I think they're all still good. And then we've got this one was from me: volume over age, always, especially in dynasty leagues, and basically saying that running backs as soon as they turn 25, people just want to cast them aside. Which maybe in hindsight this might get revised because it seems like the entire league is doing this. But you can find value with the older running backs, especially if you're a contender and you're like, I just need this guy for this year or maybe next year.
James Conner last year.
James Conner, yeah, that was a good one.
I just traded for Alexander Madison, so we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah.
He's 24 though, right? How old is he, Trent?
And I had this stat that said
24.
this past season, weeks 6 through 17, 9 of the top 15 running backs were age 26 or older. So there's value to be had. Next one is courtesy of Austin. Buy first-round wide receivers throughout the season.
I stole this one from somebody here.
Did you?
I believe I stole it from Russia.
Okay. Most rookie wide receivers take a little while to truly become difference makers in their offenses. If a first round wide receiver gets off to a slow start, that's your chance to go and trade for him.
That sounds like me. Yeah.
I think that's a good one, though. This next one's from Rosie. Don't trust injured players coming off a major injury, ACL, Achilles, etc.
That goes against point number 3, but
I remember that at the time. It was a little awkward because I think we
Oh,
went like
Cam.
back to back.
Good old Cam.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
he hurt me pretty bad.
Yeah. Let's see. This one is from Trent. Get to know your league mates and know who you can win trades with. Everyone has their favorite teams and their favorite players, so use that knowledge to your advantage. I think that's good. I think it is.
I think I've
Worthwhile.
been more vulnerable to that than anyone.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think sometimes, though,
I
where
was
you have to be
chasing
careful.
Jefferson tail for a good year.
Yeah. And then you finally got him, and then you wanted us to you decided
blew the
that we were
league
going to blow up the league.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. In a redraft league, just draft a wide receiver in the first round. This one was from me. There's always first-round running backs that bust. Jonathan Taylor last year. There's also mid-round running backs that become league winners. Josh Jacobs. Meanwhile, the top-end wide receivers, barring season-ending injuries, always end up being the top wide receivers that season.
The fantasy community has caught up on that.
I agree.
I think you're right. I think you're going to be seeing Justin Jefferson go 1.1 in more leagues than McCaffrey this year.
Jamar 1.2 probably.
Probably. Let's see. All right, 3 more. That was number 8. We've got 11 in our manifesto. Number 9, this is from Rosie. It can always get worse.
I believe it.
If you're holding on to a player who's struggling and you keep holding him instead of cutting bait because you're thinking, surely it must get better, it can't get any worse. You're wrong. It can always get worse. Don't ignore all the red flags staring you in the face. Anyone come to mind, Rosie?
Yeah, Cam Akers.
Trey Lance?
Trey Lance, too. Yeah, well, he was injured, so you didn't have to hold on to him.
Yeah.
Does Gabe Davis call? I guess Gabe Davis ended okay.
Yeah, I think for next year, like, if some of these NFL teams get off to a rough start, like, I imagine the Raiders are going to be bad. And if Devontae Adams starts suffering, you need to get rid of him.
Yeah.
See,
All right.
I don't know, 'cause I think the Raiders might trade him. But
If he
anyway,
gets traded, then that's fine. But
yeah.
I could see that.
I
All right.
think last year it was the
No,
the
you're good.
Broncos that people were holding out hope on.
Russell
and
Wilson,
just
Oh, I
bad
was
the
holding
whole
up on
year.
Cortland Sutton so bad.
Jerry
Sutton,
Jeudy.
I bought Judy last year, so we'll see how that goes. But I think I traded him again. I can't remember. But
Yeah.
I did buy him last year.
Number 10, this is from Trent. Look for aging wide receivers and go grab the next guy up. Prime example of this is Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne. Thielen's best years were clearly behind him. So you were saying go get KJ Osborne because he's going to fill into that wide receiver 2 role pretty soon. And you're right because now Thielen is in Carolina and KJ Osborne is wide receiver 2.
Well,
Probably.
In a competition for wide receiver too.
Maybe not in a race, but yeah. All right, last one. This one's from me. Try and identify the top offenses and just stockpile as many of those players as you can. It's always said that touchdowns are the flukiest part of fantasy football and shouldn't be counted on from year to year. I'd counter this by saying if you grab the players on the teams who score the most touchdowns, then there's nothing fluky about it. So Eagles last year, Chiefs, 49ers, just get players where the teams are going to score a lot of points because someone's going to have to score them.
Shocked you mentioned Eagles, but
I mean, you can't
yeah, how
ignore the
about
truth.
for this year.
I would get their skill players. I wouldn't get Jalen Hurts. But fully admitting that I'm biased, as I've said on this podcast many times, I understand my bias. It's the first step, admitting it. So, all right, that's our fantasy football manifesto from last year. I think overall a lot of those rules still apply. We'll post a link to it in the show notes for this episode. Go check it out. especially if you're in redraft. I think some of these rules can especially help you, whether it's drafting wide receivers in the first round, whether it's, trying to get one of those older running backs that can still be, make a difference and things like that. So there you have it. All right. Final segment. This ended up being a much longer podcast than I expected.
Maybe we should save this for next time.
You think so?
Rosie's tired after
Are
one.
you done?
He looks done.
I mean, we can go if y'all want to, but
How many fingers was the pour?
Go get another Red Bull and
It was a
vodka,
whole-
and then let's do this draft.
can I?
Sure. Go get it while I'm explaining it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We can do
I'll
a
see
sec-
you boys in a second.
There you go. All right.
He's rejuvenated.
So this next segment, we're doing a draft, and we're not just drafting the best teams in the NFL for next season, and we're not just drafting the worst teams in the NFL next season, but we're drafting both. So there's 4 of us. We're each going to have 4 picks. So if you do the math, 16 teams, half the league, 32. Yeah.
Wow.
And we're going to be drafting the teams that we think are most likely to either win the Super Bowl or get the number 1 overall pick. And so that doesn't mean that you're picking a team who could achieve both, but it's like one of your picks you would say, okay, I'm
pretty
picking.
hard to achieve both.
I know. I just wanted to clarify that. So like one of your picks, you could say, I'm picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. And then, your next pick, you could say, I'm picking, I don't know, the Cardinals to have the number 1 overall pick. And that's how we're going to do it. And it's just 4 picks. You don't have to do 2 and 2. You can do all 4 Super Bowl. You can do all 4 number 1 overall pick. And we're going to revisit this at the end of the season to see who was right, who correctly picked the first and the 32nd pick in next year's draft. So as Rosie's coming back, we can go ahead and
What's the order?
should we have Rosie pick last because he's not here, or is that not
Yes.
fair?
Just throw in a random generator.
Okay.
Snake or no?
Yeah, we'll snake it because there's 4 of us. All right, random name generator. Let's see here. We're gonna do. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, we're gonna do it a different way. So, how should we do this? Should the 3 of us do rock paper scissors, like on the Discord?
The delay is going to be too bad.
Yeah, why can't we
Put
just
it
do
up
a
towards
random
cheating.
generator?
Okay. Well, I looked it up and it didn't.
Work smarter, not harder, Andrew.
This is fantastic podcasting.
This is
I
great
might,
Yeah,
I might just
yeah.
cut all this.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it all.
Draft randomizer.
Here, I just
Draft
got it.
order
All right,
generator.
randomize.
Oh, you got second drink. I thought he was getting Red Bull.
All right, so we're gonna do a random generator to find out who goes first. I just typed in all 4 of our names in this
Share your
random.org.
screen, please.
Oh, okay. Well, I already did it. But if you want
Somebody
me to share
cut the deck.
you probably aren't gonna believe me, but it did have me going first. But
Wow.
Wow.
I
Wait,
know,
Andrew,
all right.
what are the rules again?
look at this. Okay.
Where
Can you see my screen? Here it is.
again?
These were
Shut
4
up.
items in your list. Here they are in random order. You see that? Yeah. I'll do it again if you don't think that's fair.
That's all right. I'm fine picking second.
Here. I'll do it
I
again.
see.
Here we go. Again. Okay.
Yeah.
Austin,
Ball of
Andrew,
light.
Rosie, and Trent. That's the order. And so I explained it, Rosie. It is you're picking. Wait, do you actually need me to explain it?
No, I was kidding.
Okay. Austin, you get to go first. Who's your first pick?
I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Best quarterback in the league, improved offense. Let's go. That's my pick.
Okay.
It's obvious to me.
Good pick. Good pick. Definitely.
It's the number 1.
I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals to have the worst record.
You had
First
no
overall
option.
pick.
You had to double down.
That is my pick. Rosie, it goes to you, my friend.
I will take the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Alrighty.
All right.
You're usually pretty high on the Bills, wouldn't you say?
I love Josh Allen.
Yeah,
you
you
know
do.
that Gabe Davis, he's gonna have a breakout year.
Firstborn Josh Allen Roseboom.
I think he's more inclined to name than Gabe, honestly. But
All right, Trent.
I'm going to take the 49ers to win the Super Bowl,
that's a good pick.
and also the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to have the first overall pick.
That's a good pick. I was thinking about them too.
No Baker.
I like that. Okay, so far, Austin picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I picked the Cardinals to have the first overall pick. Rosie picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl. Trent 49ers to win the Super Bowl, and then also the Bucks to have the first overall pick. So that brings it back to Rosie.
I will take the Raiders to have the first overall pick.
Ooh, the Raiders. Not a believer in Jimmy G.
He's not even
Never
gonna play.
have been, never will. They got no one, man. Like, their team sucks.
They have
It's
Devontae
just
Adams and
Devontae.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
There's
Unless
nobody.
Josh Jacobs sits out. And then
Zamir
it's just
White,
Devontae
Zamir
Adams.
White season. Yeah.
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 Okay. I mean,
Don't-
not terrible, but there's a
Draft
few
the-
teams I would pick ahead of the Raiders, I think.
Draft the Eagles, Andrew. It's your time.
Oh, is it back to me?
Yeah, it's back to you.
All right. I am taking I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to win the Super Bowl.
That's what I was gonna do. So
Good pick.
job.
Not a chance. Eagles aren't even going to make the playoffs. I'm serious. I'm not.
We need
Dude,
to have
all
our
right,
bold
all
take
right.
soon, Angel.
Don't no. Not even make the playoffs.
They won't win the division. They might sneak in as a wild card, but they're not winning the division.
I was like,
Sneaking
I
as
mean,
a
I
wild
understand hate and slander, but don't be an
I'll
idiot.
save this for the NFC East preview.
Okay.
I will get all my notes. I'll have
All
so
right.
many stats for you. You won't even believe.
Well, this is good value, so I will take the Houston Texans to get the first overall pick. And then
Not a
You're not-
believer in CJ Stroud, huh?
no, he's an Ohio State quarterback. The only good one has ever been Justin Fields. So,
Hey, my guy. Yes, sir.
and then yeah, you know, if you won't take the Eagles, I will. I hope I'm wrong, but they got better, so I'm gonna take the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. So
All right. Well, now it's okay. So Texans first overall pick, and then Eagles. So glad you took the Eagles, so that are not on the board when it comes back to me.
the
First
stream
turn.
has ended.
Let's see. Cardinals have been taken. Texans, Bucks,
You took the Cardinals, dude.
Raiders. No, I'm just looking at the board. I'm looking at who's available. I'm looking at value.
Where's the board?
Give me the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl.
No.
I think they're just a solid football team. I think they have a really good defense. I think they're always going to have a good defense. I think they have good coaching. And I think their offense is going to be better than it has been in quite some time. So it's a loaded AFC, but I could see Baltimore being a team that comes out of it.
I can't believe they fell to me. I'm going to take the Lions to win the Super Bowl.
Homer,
Homer. I
You
almost
know
picked
it.
the Cowboys, but I couldn't do it.
the Lions.
Yeah, there's Cowboys, Jets, Lions next up on the betting odds. The fact that they're top 10 in Super Bowl odds, though, is kind of a win for me.
You just take the Lions.
He did.
I sure did.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Vikings are on the board for you if you want them.
I'm taking the Chicago Bears to get the first overall pick.
Good pick.
Trent, you are nothing if not consistent, my friend.
Are you gonna take the Packers next?
They went and got DJ Moore. Okay, a guy that's supposedly been good his whole career, but hasn't really been good his whole career.
Dude.
And well, it won't matter because they don't have a quarterback that can throw the freaking ball. I don't think the Bears got better, and they had the first overall pick. I don't understand.
It's not
that.
crazy. So this is last pick, right?
Complete it. Come on, Trent.
No,
You
Yeah,
have
final
one
I
round.
got one more pick.
You know
Final
you
round.
want to do it.
No,
Do it.
I'm taking the Vikings to win the Super Bowl for
Oh
Captain
my!
Kirk.
Wow.
The only reason they didn't win the Super Bowl last year is
It's 'cause
because
they
their defense
sucked.
was 30th overall. Fun fact: when Kirk Cousins' defense allows 24 or less points, he has lost 4 games
In his
his
career.
whole career.
Did their defense get better?
Nope.
Yeah, and Donatello is sitting at home, not watching or not calling plays. So yeah, they got better.
I was convinced you were going to take the Packers.
Well,
to get the
and
first overall
I
pick.
will say they also hired.
I think I'm sort of getting there with Jordan Love,
They hired what's his name?
Thank you.
The guy from Miami,
Brian Flores.
Brian Flores. Going from Donatello to Brian Flores is going to be.
Even if you give
Night and
Kirk
day.
the 20th overall defense, I think he wins 1, possibly 2 playoff games.
Well, you just picked him to win 4.
I will
Yeah.
say maybe 3. Maybe
They have a
3.
better chance to win 4 than any of the other teams left on this list.
Dude.
All right.
I've never wanted a quarterback to win a Super Bowl more after watching quarterback than I want Kirk Cousins to be able to fill that spot in his sports room.
I want Justin Fields to win a Super Bowl, and then we can get on the podcast, and Trent can be like, "Are we sure he can actually throw the ball?"
He'll throw you a Lombardi trophy if he wants to.
All right, it is over to Rosie, and you cannot pick the Lions twice. Can't double
Do
down.
we have to go 2 and 2 with?
No, you don't.
Viking,
Okay.
Vikings. That's what you said. Vikings.
Oh, my typo. Okay, I was like, "What are you talking about, Austin?"
This is
You
an
guys
audio medium, awesome.
Yeah.
You guys ask that question a lot on this podcast, so
I'm gonna take the Chargers to win the Super Bowl. This is the year they won't get hurt, right?
You're picking a lot of this is the year that this won't happen. Chargers, Lions, Bills. All right. Well, if everyone else is picking their favorite team, then I'll pick the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
the
And
Cowboys were still on
looking at the
board.
teams that are left on the
This is
board,
the
I mean,
year.
Cowboys, Jets, Dolphins, Cleveland, Jacksonville. Give me the Cowboys. I want them to win a Super Bowl so that Trent has to say that Mike McCarthy is a good coach.
That won't ever happen.
The Cowboys could still
If the
win a Super
Cowboys
Bowl,
win the
and I
Super
would
Bowl,
say
it
that
would not
Mike
be because of
McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy.
It would be. It's
Well, he'll
because
have
of Dan
2
Quinn.
Super Bowl rings, so that's something.
Dan Quinn is the reason the Cowboys.
I
won
was
the
going to
Super
say,
Bowl.
if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, it'll be Dan Quinn's fault.
Well,
But
I'm not
too bad Mike McCarthy will
disagreeing
still be
with
the
you,
coach.
but I think Mike McCarthy can win a Super Bowl that Jason Garrett could not.
Do I think
so
Mike
I-
McCarthy is better than Jason Garrett? Yes.
No,
I don't think they're
they're the same.
both good. All right, my pick.
Final one.
Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars to win the Super Bowl. I like the young talent that they've got. I mean, it's the last pick in the draft. I mean, yeah, give me the Jags. I think if Lawrence makes the leap, Etienne gets healthy, I think they look good. So, stout defense, that'll be good.
So if I'm doing the math here, so we've got 11 teams to win the Super Bowl, and 1, 2,
Wait, did anybody take the
3,
Colts?
4.
I should have
Okay,
taken
5
the-
of them are in the NFC. I thought it was going to be more unbalanced, but
I should have taken
6
the
to
Colts.
5.
Never mind.
I
So-
feel like there's not a lot of really, really bad teams.
There really isn't. I mean, I'm sure one's going to emerge, but I agree with you.
I like the Tampa Bay pick, Trent, or who picked him?
Me, yeah.
Trent, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so to recap, for teams that we have to win the Super Bowl, Austin has the Chiefs, Eagles, and Jaguars. I've got the Bengals, Ravens, and Cowboys. Rosie has the Bills, Lions, and Chargers. And Trent has the 49ers and Vikings. For teams that get the number 1 overall pick, Austin has the Texans. I have the Cardinals. Rosie has the Raiders. And Trent has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And the
is
Chicago
our-
Bears.
And the Chicago Bears.
Don't forget about Justin Fields. I know
Oh.
you do frequently.
How could
I
we?
no,
All right, so
I
what do we get if we win, Andrew?
You get a free order to Liquid IV,
On the business.
assuming they're still on my dime. But if I win, then you all have to pool in and buy my order.
Fair
Luna,
enough.
But if
16-pack or
God
48-pack?
forbid they're no longer a sponsor of this podcast, then we'll think of something else.
my mom's
will be
dog
Ace.
has attitude problems.
I'm just
and
kidding. We'll still buy it because we love Liquid IV.
When
I'm
my
not
mom
kidding.
is out of town, she just takes dumps at the top of the stairs in protest.
Cody Carnes in this video
Calls that an upper decker.
Liquid IV.
And I'm like watching her take a dump right now. And she's just staring at me like, what are you going to do about it?
Like,
Dude, I heard, I think it was, they had someone write in on part of my take where this guy wrote in and he said that he was home alone, like his girlfriend or whatever, or wife was at work. And he said whenever he's home alone, like he doesn't bother to shut the door to the bathroom whenever he goes poop. And so the way their bathroom is set up is like you can see right out the door from the toilet. And so he's sitting there and they have a dog and he's sitting on the toilet going poop and he can see his dog over on the carpet also going poop. And so he can't do anything about it because he's, a little preoccupied.
Finish it
And
off.
so he decided, well, the damage is already done. There's nothing I can do about it now. So he decided, to just still take his time, doing his business. He's on his phone, whatever. And because he didn't hurry up to go clean it up, their Roomba
oh,
went over the poop and just started spreading it all over the carpet and just this even layer.
mistakes were made. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that seems like a good place to end it. We'll end the podcast there. That's going to do it for all of us here
Dad
at
joke?
Making the Call.
We're getting there.
Trent, do you have a dad joke or
I don't have my book with me. Sorry.
okay? Let's just do the first
Poop,
one that I
let's
see.
do poop dad jokes because that seems to be the theme to end it.
Oh, poop dad jokes. Okay,
Poop dad jokes.
I can do that.
Be pretty crappy list, but let's go.
Ha
Ah,
All right. See y'all tomorrow.
Low hanging fruit, guys.
Okay.
It's a tie ball game.
Why did the toilet paper roll down the hill? To get to the bottom.
Yeah, that's really good.
I like that one. That's good.
All right, that's going to do it. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the week. Go check out our Fantasy Football Manifesto. Let it help you as you go through all your drafts or your working off-season trades and all that good stuff because fantasy football is alive and well. The NFL season is almost here. We'll be starting our preview pods next week. I cannot wait. We've got lots of fun and exciting new things coming here at Making the Call for this NFL season that we will be revealing here shortly. So I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the week, and we will see you next time.
You are sent.
Got a ball game.
Yep.
Yeah.